Tchaikovsky's. Tchaikovsky's. Ah, goodness, I can't say it. Holy moly! Once again, it's me, Chris Noosh, back with another. I guess this is going to be like a week recap video, so to say, because I didn't film anything during the week because everything that I did this week was boring and stuff that I couldn't really show you. So here I am to explain to you what I did this week. Kind of like a video story, I guess. I left you last week with a little bit of a cliffhanger. And it was the hat with me failing making the hat with the Owlclops on it. And I think I decided that hat ain't gonna work. It wasn't gonna work. So I decided to pivot and make a new design and pick one of the other mythical critters to do a hat based off of. And I chose my second favorite one. Well, I love all of them. Actually, my favorite one, I'll show you. Spoiler alert, is this one. Just real quick on the screen there. Kaboom! Just teasy, and I'll get into that in a minute here. The Owlclops wasn't going to work, so I decided to test out a new design, and you can see it right there. It's the Octonome. Look at him right there. And I got two of them on this hat, because this is one of my test hats that I keep up in a cabinet. And it's got the failed Owlclops, and then two Octonomes on there that worked out real well. And the only difference between them is that the final color on this one is purple and the final color on this one is black. I went with the final color being purple. It's really hard to show it. Hopefully it's showing up well. Right now it's kind of like, there we go. Too harsh a light, but there you go. That's what it looks like. So I made that this week. That's kind of how I started off the week. I had a commission I was working on. I worked on that too. I got to finish painting that up next week. And then I took everything down to the gallery. Getting stuff ready for a show in a gallery is it's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work. I worked the past month working on 10 new pieces for the show. Like kind of getting the ideas straight and then working on the pieces and then just getting them ready to show and everything. So I made 10 new carved and painted pieces in a series, just kind of thinking of how things work together. I made 10 critters, 10 mythical critters. And these mythical critters are kind of like mashups in between animals. And most of the animals are animals that I've done before. Probably all of them are animals that I've done in the past. And mythical creatures from mostly Greek mythology, but there's a couple that are not from Greek mythology, like gnomes, and I think that's the only one. Mermaids. Mermaids might be Greek mythology. I'm not quite certain on that, actually. But they probably are. Probably far more for like sailors mythology, where like they come back from the ocean, they're like, I saw a mermaid and you wouldn't believe it. It's late at night. It's 10:30. I guess it's not that late, but I've been up all day. And I'm coming downstairs to record this. So I did 10 mythical creatures. I've got the Koala Bearus, which is a mixture between the koala bear and a Cerberus. The guardians of the gates of hell. And I've got Octonome, which is an octopus and a gnome smushed together. And then Owlclops, which is an owl and a cyclops. I've got what I call the Viximera, which is a fox and a chimera. And a chimera is just it's a lion, goat, snake, kind of smushed into one creature. The snake is the tail, the goat's coming out of the neck, and then there's a lion body. So that's kind of cool. I've got the bird maid, which is a bird mermaid. I've got a Kiton, which is a fawn, but a kitten. I got a Axahidna, which is a axolotl mixed with an echidna. An echidna, not the Australian animal. I'm talking like echidna. It is a like flying beast lady, demon beast lady thing. I forget exactly what it does, but it looked cool, and I thought it would be kind of cool to throw that with an axolotl, which is kind of just like slimy and adorable. Thought they'd be fun together. I've got a platypus, which is a platypus harpy. I've got the Rhinotaur, which is a centaur rhino. And then the Racacorn, which is a raccoon as a unicorn. Anyways, those are the 10 pieces that I made. I came up with those concepts, sketched them all out, drew them, colored them, came up with a plan, then drew them onto wood, and then cut those out and painted the edges and carved them and painted them and inked them and got them ready to hang. And then this week I had to go on and I went to drop them off to the gallery along with some other work. So it was a big week for me doing stuff like that. And I just wanted to come on here and tell you all about that. And the last thing I want to do here is I to kind of introduce this series of work to you guys. I wrote little blurbs about each animal, and I kind of think they're fun. When I let Paige read them, she giggled at some of them. So maybe you think it's like a little creative writing project for me. So as I am playing the inking videos for each one of these, because those are always fun to watch, I thought it'd be interesting to read to you the little blurbs that I wrote for each one. Koala, Koala Barris. He guards the gates to the treetop realm, keeps any eucalyptus from escaping, and has acquired a taste for human flesh. Luckily for us, when it's not eating eucalyptus, it is resting. Unfortunately for the eucalyptus, the Koala Barris takes about 8 to 10 hours to digest those little leaves. It's a slow, violent death. Little leaf screams can be heard miles away. The Octonome. This land octopus has a penchant for elaborate costumes. If they see it on Pinterest, he's making it next week. This is an Octonome. The Octonome is very wise, quite the chatterbox, and smells slightly fishy, but never let your guard down around this mischievous little devil. They can be quite the little tricksters. He once buttoned up my top shirt button, and I didn't notice until I got home. I must have looked like such a dweeb. Owlclops. Mostly nocturnal, the one-eyed owl is loud and violent. This is quite unfortunate as they are deadly hunters and stealthy, murderous little chuckleheads. I would stay out of the forest at night. Unless you want your arm ripped off, then by all means, go into the forest at night, but don't complain later. Vixamera. The head of a fox, a snake as a tail, and a goat growing out of its back. The Vixamera is quite the sight. You won't get anywhere with the fox and the snake. Best just to ignore them. They can breathe fire with deadly accuracy. It's the goat you want to speak with. Offer them a sliced up orange half. If it smells a little rancid, they will like it more. Once the goat is eaten, they'll speak with the other two about their anger issues. You should pass with no concerns. Birdmaid. With the tail of a fish, I bet you thought this little fellow was sea-bound. You'd be wrong. Don't get it twisted. You'll often see flocks of birdmaids splashing in puddles, eating suet and whatnot, but this scumbag can fly. Keep your head down if you hear their distinct chirping. It's only a matter of time before you get fish-tailed in the back of the head. Kitan. Standing at about 3 feet tall, this interesting little creature plays a flute. And when I say plays a flute, I mean she took 2 years of flute lessons when she was in middle school. Ask her how her day is going and you'll hear all about Tchaikovsky's childhood. I recommend a friendly tip of the cap and move on with your day. Axahidna. This may be one of the cutest faces you'll ever encounter, but this amphibious beast means business. Its mouth is small, but it can suck all the meat off of a heifer's leg in 2 shakes of a serpent's tail. Oh, did I mention it has a serpent's tail? Yeah, it has a serpent's tail and bat wings. Platypes. Legend has it that this little bugger is responsible for every hurricane, cyclone, tornado, and mild gust of wind since the 1400s. Debbie down the street had just put up this beautiful little brass weather vane. Only problem is that it prominently featured a quokka. Platypes hate quokkas, so that weather vane had to go. Go at about 290 kilometers per hour right into the sea, that one did. Rhinotaur. This Rhinotaur loves to LARP. It can oftentimes be found planting a series of hedges outside of the student center to trap its victims and force them into a live action roleplay with them. He carries an extra foam axe just in case. Racacorn. Magical. mystical, and marvelous. The Rackacorn has it all. This trash-loving masterpiece is rarely seen and never heard. They walk so softly that its footsteps cannot be heard by any living creature. The only evidence you'll ever see is its tracks left in the morning dew and the contents of your garbage on display for everyone to see. They bring prosperity and peace wherever they go, so you'd be so lucky to have this little trash monster rummage through your dumpster. So those are my mythical creatures. That's the bulk of what I've been doing for the month of December, really, and the last part of November. I also made the little Bigfoot piece that you've already seen. I made that specially for the show as well, because I included all of my tiny little prints that I wanted to kind of feature that. So that was in there as well. And then I also included a lot of my pandemic era art. So art that hadn't really seen the light of day a whole lot. This is work that I created while I wasn't really doing a whole lot. This is work that I created a little bit before the pandemic started. That was going to be in a show that got canceled at a gallery that I'm no longer with. I won't really get into that, but that's not fun. So this is work that kind of just missed its opportunity. And I've had this show pop up with me, and I was kind of excited to re-enter the world a little bit. And then I had that taken away from me too, because the opening for this was canceled, and now the show's just kind of gonna be up. When I agreed to the show, we were gonna have an opening, and now we didn't, which I understand and I get. It doesn't mean that I wasn't disappointed with it, but that's just where we are. Anywho, won't get into all that. So yeah, that's kind of what makes up this show. And then once again, it was also the Octonome hat that I made last week after the failure of the Owlclops hat. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how the show looks. I hope, fingers crossed, that people go and see it. I understand that a lot of you that watch these are not based in Atlanta. So that's kind of why I'm showing you this. It's kind of my artist talk for this show and kind of what I was thinking and what I was doing for the show. The one question I get asked is how do I come up with the animals and the creatures? Most of my creative process is me sitting and sketching and just drawing in my sketchbook. That's where all my ideas come from. It's just kind of that quiet time at night. And that's kind of where this came from. I just had an idea of animals as mythical creatures, and I ran with it and saw how far I could push it and made 10 carvings based on that thought. So that's the show. The show is up all month. The gallery is open from 1 to 6, Fridays and Saturdays, and it'll be up through January 30th of this month, and then it's coming down. I'm going to go grab it all probably on January 30th. I think that's a Sunday. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's a Sunday. Thought I had it written up there, but I don't. So that's the show. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this, me ranting and reading the little blurbs that I wrote. Next week, I'll give you a little bit of a teaser. Next week, I have 2 pieces that I will be creating for another show, but this show is a larger group show. And what that means is I'm showing alongside, probably 50 different artists rather than showing alongside 3 other different artists. So it's less focused on me, which is great because I don't have to put as much effort into it. I'm just going to be making 1, maybe 2 pieces, depending on how much work how long that actually takes me to do next week. So that's next week, and I will be filming that, and I will be showing you that, and I will be, just documenting that whole process. So, yeah. Anywho, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoy it, and I'll see y'all next week as I work on 2 framed and carved and painted pieces. All right. See you later. Bye. Its mouth is small, but you can suck all the meat off of